Secondly, Jerusalem is pretext. It is the excuse that everybody uses. If there's no Palestinian unity, it's easier to blame Jerusalem. It's the coat hanger on which all of the frustrations pack all of the excuses of why not to go back to negotiations. Having said that, there is a message in this, and I would like to address that message to the four key players in increasing order, in ascending importance. Israelis, Palestinians, the president, and Tom Friedman. Israelis. Unless Jerusalem is brought under control, there is no political process. And failure to bring Jerusalem under control, I'm not talking about a holy grail, I'm not talking about an ideological commitment to full stop settlement freeze, etc., etc. There is no process. And failing to bring Jerusalem under control is a clear indication you are not serious about pursuing political negotiations. There is no other interpretation. To the Palestinians and to the Arab world, the following. You are correct in insisting that Jerusalem be brought into control, but also, get real, passive-aggressive is an element of policy. It should not exhaust it. Political negotiations on Jerusalem are going to bring all of the Huns out of all of the places in the woodwork, and this is completely egalitarian. There are Jewish Huns, there are Muslim Huns, and there are Christian Huns. And some of them visit the Shepherd's Hotel on their way to resuming a presidential campaign, and they will remain nameless. The assault of the extremes is not a possibility. The assault of the extremes is a certainty. I guarantee that the day, inshallah, that President Mitchell announces we've got negotiations back in place, you will find a D9 Caterpillar earth-moving equipment on the doorstep of Shepherd's Hotel to tear it down in order to greet the new negotiating process. And if it's not going to be Shepherd's Hotel, it will be something else. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. Namely, we will be dealing with the radioactive issues of final status, the excruciatingly painful issues of refugees, settlements, borders, and Jerusalem, and at the same time doing very, very heavy lifting in terms of crisis management. We're not going to get a perfect storm. To the president, I would say, and you know, it's odd for me to come into town and say, you know, to the president, I'm a lawyer from 23 Hillel Street, 10th floor, but I know that my issue will not be brought under control without the active involvement of the President of the United States. It's easy to say, Mitchell's not doing this, and Dennis Ross is back in town, and Hillary Clinton wants to be said. Nonsense. If the Israelis cannot deliver the minimum that is required for the Palestinians to come back to negotiations, we need Deus ex machina. And the Europeans are doing that, and the Egyptians are doing that, and the world history is curving to Obama. Everything's curving to Obama except the president himself. Unless there will be a paradigm shift. A level of articulation of the North Star, where we are going, what the azimuth is in final status in Jerusalem, and laying down rules of engagement in Jerusalem in the interim, I have serious doubts as to whether a substantive political process can resume. Now, I said that there's great drama going on here. We're close to losing it. I also am adamant, and this is not a Pollyannish adamance, that we are still, with all of the depletion of energy of the last year, at a moment of great opportunity. And I would like to articulate that in a moment. President Obama laid out the foundations, the architecture of his foreign policy in the Cairo address. What is happening today in Jerusalem is antithetical to the Cairo address. We have a president who gets it. He probably gets it as well or better than all of his advisors. This president is predisposed to deal with our issue, our Israeli-Palestinian issue, and amongst that, he is predisposed to understand the substance and the nuance of Jerusalem. That's the positive side of this. The negative side of this is something that I've told this administration from day one, and regrettably, I think it's being borne out. Jerusalem is a very wise city and a very forgiving one for those who treat her complexities with the reverence it deserves. It can show us the way. I think Greg alluded to this. Jerusalem is in many ways the counter paradigm of clash of civilizations. It's where civilizations meet soberly but non-violently. To those who ignore Jerusalem, it is one nasty town. Ignore Jerusalem, and Jerusalem will seek you out. It will hunt you down, and it will undermine not only what you're trying to do on Israeli-Palestinian peacemaking, but in Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, and elsewhere. Which leads me to Tom Friedman. I'm sorry. I'm tempted to throw in the towel just like everybody. Do I want to be the Harold Stassen of Silwan? Come on. That's not exactly what I dreamed of. It is an option that does not exist. Unless this conflict is addressed at its core, President Obama does not have a foreign policy. It is not conceivable that there will be a realignment between the interface of the tectonic plates between the United States, the West, the Arab world, and Islam, with events careening out of control in Jerusalem. It is probably unfortunate the day after the State of the Union address to deal with healthcare metaphors. If this administration will not deal with this issue in terms of preventive medicine, which is doable, before the area erupts, this administration will be dealing with it in terms of trauma room medicine, which has an exorbitant cost and a high mortality rate. The stakes are high. We are close to losing this. This failure to avail ourselves of the opportunities that still exist will have dire consequences. But wallowing in despondencies over mistakes made during this last year is an option that we simply do not have. The mistakes have not been irrevocable. It's time to engage. Thank you.